This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a very long time now, but I've never gotten around to making it just because of the sheer humiliation that I will feel admitting everything that I will admit in this video. I know for a fact that I will receive a lot of ridicule for the stuff that I will admit in this video, and I think now I'm fully ready for it. I'm ready for the ridicule. I can't say that I don't deserve the ridicule because I very much do. Buckle up, folks. I'm about to take the L big time. The day is October 5th, 2021. And the final DLC fighter for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is about to be revealed, and it ends up being none other than Sora, the main protagonist of Kingdom Hearts. Now, back in the late 2010s and early 2020s, I was absolutely obsessed with this game. And as with most fans of the game, I had a most wanted dream fighter, and my most wanted character would not make it into the game whatsoever. Not as a Mii costume, not as a spirit, nothing like that. Now at the time, I was highly disappointed with Sora's inclusion just because of that. Even with the knowledge that, yeah, a lot of people wanted to see Sora join Smash. Sora was the most requested fighter in Smash Bros. History, etc. Even with that knowledge, I was still disappointed in his inclusion. And then one day, in early 2022, that disappointment became curiosity. What the f*** even was Kingdom Hearts, honestly? Like, obviously, yeah, I knew what Kingdom Hearts was. I had heard of Kingdom Hearts prior to Sora joining Smash, but I had never played the games before, and I knew little to nothing about the games themselves. I knew that this was a series of RPGs, except they had Disney characters in them for some reason, and apparently this franchise has a really f***ing confusing storyline, so there's that as well. Needless to say, one day I became very curious about this franchise, and so I decided to give it a chance. I ended up buying the first Kingdom Hearts, and I was curious to see what kind of gaming masterpiece I would be getting into. But before I did that though, I felt very confident that I would become a huge fan of this franchise, and so I went ahead and I bought Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. And then one day I went to my local GameStop and I saw they had Kingdom Hearts 3, and I decided, you know what, I might as well get it, why the hell not? And there you had it. I had 3 installments of a game franchise that I was completely unfamiliar with. I know what everyone in the comments is going to say. Don't only play the numbered games and ignore the other games, because otherwise you're not going to understand the storyline. If I only play Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 and ignore all the other games, I won't understand the storyline. I get that. And don't worry, because Kingdom Hearts 1 is the only one of these 3 games that I really spent time playing. I only spent a very little bit of time playing Kingdom Hearts 2, I'll get into that later on, and I've never touched Kingdom Hearts 3, ever, once. It's been 3 years since I've bought this game, over 3 years, and I still haven't played it, and I'm probably never going to play it, to be honest. My idea was I would slowly but surely get all of the games in this series, and obviously I would play them in release order, or maybe in chronological order, I don't know. But I knew that all of that stuff would have to wait in the future. The main thing that I needed to do right now was play the very first, the original Kingdom Hearts from all the way back in 2002. Widely considered one of the greatest video games ever made and a defining title for the 6th generation of gaming. One of the many classics to come out of the early 2000s era of gaming. And knowing how universally beloved this game was, naturally I would end up hating this game with a f***ing passion. That's right, I hated Kingdom Hearts. I thought this was a bad game. And it wasn't like I only spent 5 minutes playing the game and that was it. No, I spent hours playing this game, waiting for it to get better, but it just seemingly never got better, not for me at least. To my knowledge, I had 10 hours of playtime on this game. 10 hours. That's a lot of time, don't you think? I kept giving this game so many chances, and yet I would never be able to get into the game. The game wouldn't allow me to get into it, and so I ended up hating the game, and I was confused at the time as to why so many people love this game, for really stupid reasons that I will go over later on, and I will debunk myself those stupid reasons as to why I thought the game was bad. Throughout the summer of 2022, I would go on to make several videos talking about my experience playing the game and why I thought it was a bad game, why I thought this game didn't deserve any of the critical acclaim that it has. I'm pretty sure I even went as far as to say that this game should be considered on par with several infamous bad games like E.T., Superman 64, Sonic 06, etc. And I wasn't being an edgy contrarian, no, I genuinely meant all of this stuff. I genuinely believed that this game was on par with Superman 64 and Sonic 06. This wasn't me being an edgy contrarian troll or anything like that. I was being genuine saying all of this stuff, which in retrospect, that makes it even worse. I made 5 videos total talking about the first Kingdom Hearts, and after that, I vowed to never play the game ever again, and to never play the other 2 games that I owned in my possession. And so, the rest of 2022, I moved on from this game, ignoring it. And then all of that changed in early 2023, when out of nowhere, the morbid curiosity got the best of me to play Kingdom Hearts 2 and see what it was all about. It was just the biggest case of morbid curiosity that I think I've ever had. It was like the f***ing green goblin inside of me was possessing me, convincing me to play the game. I had heard a lot of stuff about how Kingdom Hearts 2 was a much better game than Kingdom Hearts 1. It was the best game in the series, and it's one of the greatest games ever made, and a defining title for gaming in the 2000s, much like the first game. And so that made me really curious. By this point, I started playing the game, I didn't care whatsoever about the storyline. The storyline meant nothing to me. I didn't care about the storyline. I knew that I was not going to understand the storyline playing this game without beating the first game, but I didn't care. I just wanted to focus on the gameplay. I wanted to see how did this game play when compared to the first game. I probably spent only like an hour or 2 playing the second game. I don't even know if it was a full hour, to be honest, that was spent playing the game. Once again, I didn't like the game. I thought the game was bad, but I did think it was better than the first game, a tiny bit. Unfortunately, even though I thought this game was better than the first Kingdom Hearts, I still made videos talking about Kingdom Hearts 2. I made 2 videos talking about Kingdom Hearts 2, and that was it. And then that's where the Kingdom Hearts saga came to an end. The Kingdom Hearts 1 stuff was in 2022, while the Kingdom Hearts 2 stuff was in 2023. Once again, I never played Kingdom Hearts 3, ever. And I most likely never will. I never played the game, and I never made videos on the game. And I find that highly ironic considering the fact that compared to Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, Kingdom Hearts 3 has a more mixed, divisive reception, whereas the first 2 Kingdom Hearts games are unanimously beloved. I know, it's ironic. The only one of these 3 games where it wouldn't be controversial for me to say, I hate this game is bad, whatever, and I end up not playing it. I end up giving it a pass. I end up sparing the game by not playing it. But then the 2 unanimously beloved games, I just pointlessly trash for no reason. Ironic, I know. As the years went by, I had moved on from Kingdom Hearts, and I forgot all about it. Only on rare occasions would I get reminded of this series, and I would just look at it as like, this was a failed thing that I tried getting into. I tried making myself a Kingdom Hearts fan, but alas, it was just simply never meant to be. One day, I asked myself, why did I even hate Kingdom Hearts in the first place? And so I decided to rewatch the 7 videos that I made on the first 2 Kingdom Hearts games. And mind you, I have still never played any of these games since then. I have not played Kingdom Hearts 1 since 2022, and I have not played Kingdom Hearts 2 since 2023. I feel like that is relevant information to bring up. I will most likely never go back to playing these games. I'm re-evaluating these games. I am acknowledging that I was wrong about my criticisms towards these games, if you can even call them criticisms, but I will never replay either of these games, as I feel like the damage has already been done and it is irreparable to say the least. But getting back on topic, I would rewatch these videos, and yeah, I admit it, I haven't played any of these games since the initial times that I played them, but it was very obvious rewatching these videos that I got a lot of information wrong about these two games, and I mean a lot of information wrong. Now, this video is going to focus mostly on my criticisms towards Kingdom Hearts 1. As number 1, I spent far more time on Kingdom Hearts 1 than I did Kingdom Hearts 2, as evident by the fact that again, I made 5 videos on Kingdom Hearts 1, but only 2 videos on Kingdom Hearts 2. Number 2, most of the criticisms that I had for Kingdom Hearts 1 could have also kind of applied to Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. There weren't that many exclusive criticisms that I had for Kingdom Hearts 2, but the few exclusive criticisms that I had for Kingdom Hearts 2 will be brought up. I just mainly want to focus on all of the stupid, incorrect shit that I would say about Kingdom Hearts 1. I rewatched these videos and I was just amazed at how many things I got wrong about these games. I have been wanting to make this video for a long time, but I wasn't sure if I was ready to experience the humiliation, just experience the embarrassment that will be felt by admitting all of this stuff. If there are any fans of Kingdom Hearts watching this video, y'all are either gonna laugh at the stupid shit that I would say about these games, or you will get very angry at me and you're going to hate my fucking guts, and either one is completely valid. I don't blame y'all at all. I don't blame y'all. But now, I think I've accepted my fate, and now I'm ready to bear the humiliation of admitting every stupid thing that I got wrong about Kingdom Hearts. I was wrong about Kingdom Hearts. It's actually good. Or maybe it is bad, genuinely, but the reasons as to why I said the game was bad are really f***ing stupid. Many of the problems that I had with these two games largely boiled down to me being bad at the game. I'm not a fan of RPGs. I don't play RPGs. And so this is like a new experience for me to play a game that's part of a genre that I'm not familiar with. But even with that in mind, I still pulled out the old classic excuse of, I'm not bad at the game is bad, which has clearly never failed before. Every time someone pulls out that excuse, it never fails for them. Never, clearly. Alright, I think I've delayed the inevitable long enough. Let me go into detail on every single thing that I would get wrong about Kingdom Hearts, and why I would like to apologize for these terrible reviews. Let us begin. So the first thing that I want to say right off the bat is that no, none of my criticisms towards Kingdom Hearts, as stupid as they may be, have anything to do with the storyline for the game. The supposedly confusing nature of this franchise's storyline. I mean, from what I played of the first Kingdom Hearts, I did understand its storyline. Not so much for Kingdom Hearts 2, but in all fairness, that was my fault for not beating Kingdom Hearts 1 before playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And besides, I barely even played much of Kingdom Hearts 2, so I'm not sure if it really counts for this situation, but I'm bringing it up anyways, just because. If you were expecting this video to consist of me going into excessive detail analyzing every single thing that I got wrong about the Kingdom Hearts storyline, me going over the lore of Kingdom Hearts and debunking everything that I would get wrong about it in these reviews, don't worry. That's not what this video is going to be about at all. All of my criticisms towards Kingdom Hearts, as dumb as they may be, focused on the gameplay and not so much the storyline. When it came to Kingdom Hearts, I prioritized the gameplay over the storyline, which may or may not have been a stupid idea. I don't know if I want to necessarily call Kingdom Hearts a story-based franchise, but it is definitely on the heavy side when it comes to its story, but it is also fairly heavy when it comes to its gameplay, so I'm not sure if it really counts as a story-based game. Regardless, you have all been spared, as none of my criticisms towards this game have anything to do with the storyline, but they have everything to do with the gameplay, and Jesus Christ did I get a lot of things wrong about this game and its gameplay. In the 5 videos that I made on Kingdom Hearts 1, I never once took into consideration the fact that I was reviewing a game that came out in the early 2000s, a game that came out in 2002. Kingdom Hearts was first released in March of 2002. These 5 videos were all released within the summer of 2022. Kingdom Hearts was a 20-year-old game when I made my videos on it, and yet I never took that into consideration when it came to criticizing the game. I have to acknowledge that Kingdom Hearts is not a perfect game. There are problems with the game. There are valid flaws for the game. There are valid things that you could criticize about Kingdom Hearts. It's not a perfect, flawless game. And throughout this video, in addition to going over the many stupid reasons why I thought this game was bad, I also want to highlight the few valid criticisms that I had for the game. But here's the thing, there are valid criticisms, and then there are criticisms that are valid to an extent. A lot of the criticisms that I gave to Kingdom Hearts could easily be explained with either I'm bad at the game or the game is 20 years old. There are problems with Kingdom Hearts 1 that might seem genuine and valid at first, but then you realize this game came out all the way back in 2002, and it's like, that doesn't devalidate the criticism necessarily, but it does kind of make it more redundant to bring it up as a major criticism. When I made my videos on this game back in 2022, I treated it like it was still a fairly recent game from 2018 or 2019 instead of the 20-year-old game that it was at the time. Now, the early 2000s was an amazing time for gaming, there's no denying that at all, but even the greatest games from this era have flaws in them, and you can criticize these flaws, but you could also acknowledge that things were very different back then at the time. Imagine if I made a video where I said Grand Theft Auto 3 was a terrible game and Grand Theft Auto 5 was a much better game in comparison. It's like, yeah, GTA 5 is a better game than GTA 3, there's no denying that at all, but it doesn't feel fair to say that considering the fact that GTA 3 came out in f***ing 2001. GTA 3 was one of the first big games to come out of the 6th generation of gaming. We were still largely in the N64 PS1 era of gaming when GTA 3 came out, and that made the bold, ambitious scope of the game even more impressive. It was the first of its kind, and it came out early in its time. No duh, there are going to be a few things with its gameplay that maybe haven't aged all that well in retrospect. One could say that, GTA 3 is a game that hasn't aged all that well, and that's fair. But that's different from saying GTA 3 is a bad game. You can acknowledge that GTA 3 might not have aged all that well in retrospect, and you can also acknowledge that it is one of the most important and influential video games ever made. It gave birth to the open world genre of games, and it made Grand Theft Auto one of the biggest gaming franchises. It was massively influential, and it might have aged poorly. Two things can be true at the same time, and maybe the same could be said for Kingdom Hearts. I spent so much time criticizing this game, not taking into consideration the fact that the game was 20 years old, and so naturally, it would have a few questionable design choices, questionable gameplay choices that might not have aged all that well. Imagine if I actually did play Kingdom Hearts 3, and I thought it was a better game than Kingdom Hearts 1. I would be comparing a game from 2002 to a game from 2019, and I would be saying that the 2019 game is better. That doesn't seem very fair now, does it? Once again, I will repeat myself. Many of the criticisms that I had for Kingdom Hearts 1 could either be debunked with I'm bad at the game, or the game came out over 20 fucking years ago. Maybe I shouldn't hold this 2002 video game up to modern gaming standards. Just saying. I realize now that this is going to be a far bigger video than I had initially planned. I suppose it makes sense. I originally planned on just making one video going over my experience playing Kingdom Hearts, and instead I ended up making 5 videos chronicling it. I believe I was supposed to make only one video on Kingdom Hearts 2, and I ended up making 2 videos on it. I guess it would only make sense that my apology for these videos would be more than one video long. Expect this to be a 2 or 3 part video, I'm not sure. But for this first video, I want to go over some of the smaller criticisms that I had for this game. They might be minor in comparison, but they are still very easily just as idiotic as the bigger criticisms. Let's get started. This first criticism was one that even I acknowledged in my reviews as being really insignificant and nitpicky and stupid, and yet I still brought it up as a reason as to why I thought the game was bad. When I rewatched these reviews, I was dying of laughter looking at how fucking stupid this first reason was. I was self-aware enough to know that, yeah, this was a very, trivial, minor criticism towards the game, but I didn't have enough self-awareness to know that this was not an example of the game being bad, but it was a very perfect example of me being bad at the game. If you end up laughing at this part and you think I'm a fucking idiot, I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. So at the beginning of the game, you are tasked with getting several different items for a voyage, I believe, I don't remember. And among these items are 2 coconuts. Now, every item that is mentioned was easy for me to find, except for the coconuts. I spent a good 30 minutes playing this game. I think it was 30 minutes, I'm not sure. It could have been longer than that for all we know, but I'm just going to assume it was 30 minutes. Trying to find where the hell were these damn coconuts. My initial belief was that I had to climb up the palm trees in order to get the coconuts, as another one of the items that I had to get was a seagull egg, which you could get by climbing up the trees. And so I went all around the island, and there were only 2 areas that I could explore. There weren't that many areas for me to explore. I went around these 2 areas, climbing up every tree that I could climb up to, and I just couldn't get the coconuts. I couldn't find the coconuts anywhere. And then eventually, I decided to look up a guide. For some reason, while playing this game, this could probably explain a lot when it comes to why I'm f***ing terrible at this game, but for some reason, I had this big, tough guy feel where I was like, I don't need no instructions, I don't need no manuals, I can do it all by myself, baby. I don't need guides whatsoever. And then this was one of several different moments where I had to find a guide. And as it turns out, the way to get the coconuts was so f***ing stupidly simple and easy, and for some reason, my brain could not comprehend, yeah, why didn't I try this and see if I could get the coconuts this way? You go up to a palm tree, you hit it with your sword, and then the coconuts fall down, and you collect them, but only the green ones. Somehow, in the 30 minutes that were spent going around every tree in these 2 locations, I never once thought, maybe I should hit the f***ing trees with the sword to see if I could get the coconuts. I mean, it makes perfect sense, you know? Hit the tree, the coconuts fall down, and you get them. It makes perfect sense, and yet somehow I couldn't comprehend that whatsoever. I acknowledged in these videos that this was kind of a stupid, minor, trivial criticism, and yet I still brought it up anyways. I still mentioned it in these reviews, and I still used it as a reason as to why the game was bad, even though this is a clear example that no, I was bad at the game, and for some reason I refused to accept that. Back then, when I first played this game, I looked at this whole coconut thing as being the first red flag that maybe I wouldn't enjoy the game all that much. In retrospect, I look at this coconut thing as the first red flag that yeah, I was really bad at this game, probably the worst ever at this game. And for some reason I blamed it on the game, and I never blamed it on myself. Again, I had enough self-awareness to know that this was kind of a stupid criticism, but I didn't have enough self-awareness in me to know that this wasn't the game being bad, this was me being bad. Oh, but don't worry, it gets so much better, guys. Just you wait. Just you wait. Now, the main selling point of the Kingdom Hearts franchise is the large amount of Disney worlds and characters that are all featured throughout this series. And the first Kingdom Hearts is no exception to this, as there are tons and tons of Disney movies represented in this game. And one of the Disney movies represented in this game is 1999's Tarzan. Now, the Tarzan world in this game I spent an ungodly long time playing through, for reasons that, once again, could be chalked up to me being bad at the game. But before we get into that though, there's another just as stupid criticism that I want to acknowledge. Now obviously the three main protagonists of Kingdom Hearts are Sora, Donald, and Goofy. I knew that going into this game, but I became curious, were there any other characters that I could play in this game besides these three? Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, Sora would be the default character no matter what. I can't play as anyone else other than Sora. But could I have other characters on my team besides Donald and Goofy? Who else could I have on my team? Prior to playing through the Tarzan world, I had played through a world based on 1951's Alice in Wonderland. And I couldn't have Alice on my team, I couldn't have the Mad Hatter or the Cheshire Cat or any of the other characters from Alice in Wonderland. I couldn't have them on my team. And so when I got to the Tarzan world, I got really curious. Who could I have on my team? With how massive this game is when it comes to the large amount of Disney movies represented in it, it would be a massive disappointment to just have Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and that's it, no one else besides these three. And so I enter the Tarzan world. At the beginning of the Tarzan world, Sora is separated from Donald and Goofy, and he meets up with Tarzan. And soon after, I saw this screen pop up, and I saw that, yeah, I could have Tarzan on my team, and I was like, hell yeah, this is f***ing awesome. But here is where it gets really stupid, and I mean really stupid. I knew that Kingdom Hearts was a crossover series, but I went into it thinking it would be a crossover. Later into the Tarzan world, Sora reunites with Donald and Goofy, and now I have the option to swap out either Donald or Goofy in favor of having Tarzan. So for example, I could have Sora, Donald, and Tarzan instead of Goofy. And then that made me really curious. Could I have Tarzan in all of the other Disney worlds besides the Tarzan one? I'm not joking. That is something that I actually questioned. I added Tarzan onto my team, and then I head back to the Alice in Wonderland world. And just like that, it went back to Sora, Donald, and Goofy. There was no Tarzan to be found. And at the time, for some stupid reason, I was highly disappointed about this. I was angry at the fact that I couldn't have Tarzan in the Alice in Wonderland world. After finishing the Tarzan world, I would move on to two other worlds based on Disney movies. The first of these being 1997's Hercules, in which I would abandon this world as soon as I entered the Cerberus boss battle. I'll get into that later on. And 1992's Aladdin, in which I would abandon the world alongside the game as a whole as soon as I got to that tiger head thing boss, I don't remember, later into the world. Again, I will go into detail about this later on. Now, I never got to have Hercules on my team when I entered the Hercules world, but I did manage to get Aladdin on my team in the Aladdin world. And for some reason at the time, I was disappointed in the idea that I couldn't have other Disney characters traverse other Disney movies. I couldn't have Hercules explore the Tarzan world. I couldn't have Aladdin explore the Nightmare Before Christmas world. I'm not kidding. That is a genuine thing that I got mad at. I don't know why I got mad at this, but that was something that pissed me off at the time. That was something that disappointed me. I was disappointed in the fact that this wasn't the video game equivalent to Pooh's Adventures. If you don't know what Pooh's Adventures is, you don't want to know, okay? That's a fucking rabbit hole that you really don't want to go down into, trust me. And something that I did acknowledge in these original reviews was that, yeah, it would be kind of impossible to have these characters cross over under certain circumstances. I never got to play through it, but I've seen YouTube videos of it, and there is a world in this game that's based on The Little Mermaid from 1989. You can have Ariel on your team, and the titular trio become sea creatures. Sora becomes a mermaid, Donald becomes a squid, and Goofy becomes a turtle. And I'm just gonna say, these are horrifying, and I hate them, okay? This is definitely going down under the valid criticisms category. There's no way any of y'all are gonna defend this, okay? This is scary, I'm sorry. But getting back on topic, how the hell would you be able to have Aladdin or Tarzan or Hercules or any of these other characters traverse this world? And how the hell would you be able to have Ariel traverse any of these other worlds? This was something that I acknowledged in these original videos, and yet I still criticize the game for not living up to its crossover potential, whatever that means. Once again, I was self-aware enough to know that this was kind of a stupid criticism, but I was not self-aware enough to not include it whatsoever in the videos, and instead use it as yet another reason as to why the game is bad. Granted, this has nothing to do with me being bad at the game, but that doesn't make it any less of an idiotic criticism. But going back to the Tarzan world, there was one specific area in that world that I would struggle to play through, and that would be Hippo Lagoon, I think is what it's called. Inside of Hippo Lagoon, there's a lagoon with hippos in it. Wow, shocker, I know. But there's also this vine that you can climb up to if you cross the lagoon. Now, I didn't know this at the time, and the game doesn't tell you this, but you're not supposed to go this way. You go up this vine, you end up in this area where you cannot traverse any further. And if you jump down, you end up back in the lagoon. And so your first thought would be to go back and try again. You can't jump while you're in the water for some reason, so you can't just swim to where the vine is and jump up and climb the vine and try again. No, you have to manually platform through the hippos in order to make it. And again, you're just left confused as to what the hell you're supposed to do. Once again, I must have spent at least 30 minutes, maybe a fucking hour on this part, trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. And then, I don't know if I found a guide for this or if I found out about this myself, but I ended up finding out what you're supposed to do. You see these vines over here to the left of the screen? Yeah, you're supposed to climb up them. Then, and only then, will you be able to go through the level normally. Then and only then will you be able to go through the above vine swinging segment properly. In retrospect, looking back at this whole thing, it's kind of justified, but it also feels really stupid. On the one hand, I feel like they could have made the vines stand out more, maybe have them look less like a background decoration, but on the other hand, they did put a light on the ground around where the vines are, something that I acknowledged in the original videos, in which I thought, okay, that wasn't enough, they still look like a background object. However, for some reason, I never put two and two together. I never considered, you know, maybe the light being on the ground was an obvious enough clue that maybe these vines weren't just a useless background decoration, and instead they were something that I could interact with. They still look like background decoration, but the light makes it kind of obvious that, yeah, you could interact with these vines. They're not just for the background. And for some reason, I just treated it like this was the game's fault. This was the game being bad and not me being bad. I feel like this is considerably more understandable of a criticism when compared to the coconuts, but it's still pretty stupid. Now, something that I will criticize the game for, and I still stand by that these are valid criticisms, are the vine swinging segments themselves. I don't know how to describe them, but they just felt off to play. I don't know if it was like the gravity, the physics, the momentum felt off to me. I feel like watching the gameplay footage, you can tell that, yeah, this is not very good, the swinging segments. They feel very like awkward and clunky, which that could just be chalked up to the game being from the early 2000s, so maybe it's justified to an extent and not 100% justified, but I'm still bringing it up anyways because yeah, these vine segments are pretty clunky. Now before I end this video, there is one final valid criticism that I want to bring up, and that is the remaster compilations for this game. The problem with these remaster compilations are not the compilations themselves, but rather their titles. These have got to be some of the most pretentious, unnecessarily long titles for any video game ever. What the kind of name is Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue? Why is it called that? I feel so bad for anyone that has this as their favorite game, because this is such a terrible title, and it doesn't tell you anything about what the game is. What do you mean 2.8? What does that mean? 2.8 of what? Where's 2.0 to 2.7? Why is it 2.8? That's just random. Why is the 2 a Roman numeral, but then the 8 is not a Roman numeral? What's up with that? Let me guess, that's somehow important to the lore for this game, that the 2 is a Roman numeral but not the 8. Somehow that's important to the game's lore. I just know it. Actually, some of the original games can have pretty pretentious titles themselves. What the is 358 over 2 days, or whatever it's called, like the DS game, one of the DS games. I get it, this game probably has a lore reason as to why it's called that, but even if there is a reason why the game is called that, even if there is a reason within the lore, that doesn't make it any less of a stupid title. I'm sorry, but I just had to bring these up. There's no way any of y'all can defend these titles. They are absolutely stupid and pretentious. But that is where I will end the video for now. In the next video, I will be going over the bigger problems that I had with Kingdom Hearts, and let me just say, they are much more stupid than any of the things I've brought up in this video, if you can believe it, somehow. Anyways, that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing, as it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I will see you all next time. Adios.